Good evening, good night. This is Dina here. If you're catching the replay, welcome. If you're on live and joining me, welcome. I'm going to be going live on YouTube as well, testing something out. And so I'm Dina. I'm a career ascension strategist, and I love working with women who are ambitious, who are looking to upgrade their career, who are looking to continue to improve in their area of work that they're doing. And so I've always been doing that, I would say, for almost over a decade. When I worked for corporate, I was able to really work with women on getting clear about what it is that they want to do, closing the gap on skills, being more articulate in what it is that they do as they continue to work on their next. And so I'm really excited because I get to do that full time now. I get to work with women and some men, but mostly women who are looking to be more excellent in the work that they do and show up for themselves, be able to articulate their value for their next job, for their next promotion. And so I've been doing this 3-day Future You Challenge. I've been doing this 3-day Upgrade Your Career Challenge. And essentially, I wanted to do this because I've done it before, but I saw a need to do it again to continue to have the conversation around different ways we can continue to get clear on what it is that we want, where we're going, and how we can continue to refine our career plan as we go. One of the things I think I notice the most is that people are not always taking control of their career. They are waiting for their managers, or they're waiting for their companies to put a plan together for them. And those corporations do a great job of putting together different things that can help you kind of formulate your plan in the company. I believe you need to take control of what it is that you want for your career. You need to do that. So, hi, Miss Rashinda. Thanks for joining. So, on day one, I was challenging everyone to get clear on what it is that you really want. So, we dug into the importance of asking a simple question like, how did you get here? Going a little bit deeper and figuring out, were you intentional about where you are, where you got to where you are, and where you're going. One thing we don't do, I think, as much is when we're planning our next, we're not thinking about what is our true vision for ourselves. And so you need to really think about, am I doing this for me? Am I doing this career because somebody told me to, guided me to it, or am I being intentional about what it is I'm putting together and planning? Then on day two, we went through the challenge of what to let go of. One thing I've learned, and I'm still learning because I'm still young and I'm learning every single day, is that as we're working on something new, what's almost even more important than having a big vision for yourself is figuring out, what do you have, or what are you holding on to that is not helping you right now, or is not going to help you in the future. So the challenge was to figure out what you need to let go of. So letting go of any beliefs, mindsets, stories you've told yourself around career. Hey, Black women don't get promoted. Black women don't work in this type of job, etc., etc. There's so many different things. I shared a story about how I had a manager tell me that I wasn't going to get promoted if I kept putting braids in my hair. And so I can laugh about it now, but in that moment I was angry about that. And so that's a mindset I had to let go of, that someone was telling me that I couldn't show up as myself, as a Black woman who likes wearing my hair in braids, and get promoted in the company. And so I shared that story because I think that's very relatable for us women, Black women who work in corporate, and many times we are the only one, the youngest ones, and we show up how we are authentic to ourselves, but it's not always received. So you got to go back and you got to watch the replay and let me know if you've had those type of experiences. So today is day 3. Today I'm talking about prioritizing your next step. So getting clear on what your next step is. I believe that a lot of times we get overwhelmed on what our next step is because we're trying to take 10 steps in one. And so I just want to remind you that your next step is literally usually the most simple thing that you have to do next. And so, just in the realm of looking for a job or applying for something, if your next step is doing a resume review, if your next step is asking someone to review your resume, your next step is preparing for an interview, your next step could be setting up that one on one meeting with your manager to say, hey, I want to be more challenged in this role. Hey, I'm looking for a different type of role. Those are the type of next steps that I want you to think about. Thanks, Miss Roshinda. So the next steps, I just wrote some notes because you guys know, if you've watched me, I like having my notes because I process information first through written word, and then I'm able to come and then speak about it. But I think that a lot of times we're relying on our feelings to prioritize our time and our decisions. Okay. So sometimes we don't feel like exercising. We don't feel like doing our resume. We don't feel like putting together a plan for our career. We don't feel like looking at our performance review and then seeking feedback. We don't feel like doing things with our peers. We don't feel like doing happy hour networking. We don't feel like a lot of things. But let me tell you, I'm one of my mentors that I follow is just like, feelings are not facts. It doesn't disregard that feelings are real. We feel them, but they're not facts. And so just because you don't feel like doing something doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. Okay. If we wait on the feeling of doing something, if we wait on the motivation, though very important, we would probably never get anything done. Okay. I just want you to think about that. We need to make sure that we're following through on what it is that we say we're going to do. I used to get very frustrated with myself when I would set a goal and then I wouldn't get it done. And I was like, what's happening? I'm setting these goals and I'm not getting it done. Like, really, what's happening? And I realized something, guys. I realized that I had broken so many promises to myself on what I was going to do that I didn't trust myself. I didn't trust myself to do the thing that I said I was going to do. And so I think that when you say you're going to do something to yourself, because the person you're hurting is usually not other people, it's yourself, is the accountability to yourself in terms of what am I going to do next? It's not about anybody else. It's about you. And I think if you put more weight on the words you speak to yourself, you put more weight on the accountability that you have to give to yourself to show up, I believe that it really helps you focus forward on what it is you need to do next, and for you to stay consistent. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't have external accountability. I've hired coaches, I have mentors, I seek out people to help me stay accountable as well. But I think we need to get back to also holding ourselves accountable, trusting ourselves, and working on that. I don't want you to let your feelings take control of you. So I'm a Jesus girl, so anything I do, even in the realm of this career coaching, my foundation, my anchor is really that. So one of the verses that I like is Proverbs 16:3 tells us to commit to the Lord whatever we do, and he will establish our plans. So we need to incorporate routines. We need to incorporate those little steps in what we do so that we can continue moving forward. One of my favorite mentors, I'm doing a Believe Bigger challenge, and we have different women in the group that are helping us through the devotional, sharing their testimonies and how God is speaking to them. And one of the ladies said that, God is going to bless your emotion. And I was like, oh, because I can be a perfectionist. And so I was like, a lot of times I'm a great planner. I'm planning year by year, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. And I get so caught up in planning, I forget that in the planning, you have to execute. You really have to execute. God is going to bless that execution. Why is he going to bless it? Because faith without works is dead. God has definitely said that we have to execute. We have to have faith. We have to take a step forward. And in prioritizing your next step, now I'm not talking about a big leap. I'm not saying take a next big leap. I'm saying take a next big step and don't despise those small steps. Maybe if you're like me and you do a lot of reading or trying to learn about what successful people that I respect, what they do, one of the things I've learned is that it's in the little habits. Yes, implementation, it's movement. It's in the little habits. Before we can get so caught up in the I would say, how valuable are my steps? What's the weight of each step? Because that's very important too. We don't want to just be in motion, right? But we're not going anywhere. But I would argue that even in the motion that seems like it's not going anywhere, many times it might be taking you somewhere. And hopefully, if you're able to check in with yourself, it's taking you in a direction of where you're going. So don't despise those little steps. When I say prioritize your next step, it literally means instead of looking at, hey, what's my next 5 steps? What's my next step? What am I going to do tomorrow? You know what I mean? What am I going to do tomorrow morning? What am I going to do tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow night? What am I going to do today? If you're somebody who doesn't plan well and you need to put something on your calendar today on your phone and say, hey, at 10 a.m. Before my next meeting, I'm going to take a look at my resume. Put it on your calendar. You know what I mean? So don't get so caught up in I need to do this and this and this and this and this. You need to break it down. You need to reverse engineer and break down what is actually your next step. Don't get caught up in all of that. Take it from me as someone who can get so overwhelmed in, I gotta do too much. You know what I mean? I gotta do too much. The picture looks too big. The puzzle looks it's too much to put together. How do I do it? But never forget that one puzzle piece, even if it's a 1,000 piece puzzle piece, one puzzle piece is all you need to continue building the whole picture. Okay. So just take that next step. Take that next step and let that momentum and that movement guide you through what it is that you need to do. I really want you to think about that as you're completing this. So all 3 days go together. Day 1, get clear on what it is that you actually want. It's not about your mama's plan, your daddy's plan. It's not even about your career coach's plan. It's not about your mentor's plan. What is it that you're actually looking at for your career? And again, I'm not saying 10 years. I'm saying like, what are you looking for your career in this week, in this month? I mean, it's the end of the year. The end of the year is coming. So performance reviews are coming. You really should be thinking about what it is you want to do. One thing I always used to do when I was in corporate was I would set a weekly time block of 30 minutes to just think about my career. Am I happy where I'm at? Why am I not happy? Do I like this role? Do I not like this role? Weekly. And that was a habit that for me kept me in control of my career. That was a habit for me that helped me not feel like I'm just in this thing and I just got here and I don't know where I'm going. It really helped me stay focused on where I was going. So 30 minutes once a week. Look, a lot of y'all are working from home anyways right now. So you can dedicate 30 minutes to something that's so important for your life. Not to say your career is your life, but you spend a lot of time at work. You spend a lot of time working. And so you want to make sure that the time that you're spending working is something is bringing you some fulfillment. I mean, if it's not bringing you any fulfillment, I don't really know what you're doing, okay? So get clear on what you want. Then again, the next step is get clear on what you need to let go. I had to let go of a lot of limiting beliefs around what it means to be a successful Black woman working in corporate America where nobody looked like me. I had to let go of a lot of beliefs. When I entered a room, I was the youngest, I was the only woman, and I was the only Black woman. And how do I show up in that? I had a lot of imposter syndrome. Let me not lie. I had a lot of imposter syndrome. A lot of times entering meetings, people looking at me like, are you sure you're the one leading the meeting? You know what I mean? Like, I've had people where I'm coming in for a consultation and they barely want to shake my hand. You know, I've worked in different spaces where it's like, they're looking like, who are you? What are you doing? We didn't expect you. And so a lot of things that we have to let go of in terms of our beliefs, what we think we can actually do, what other people have told us we can or can't do. You really need to think about that. So a lot of these things, they seem simple. Even when I work with my clients, it's like, it seems so simple. But in the simple work is where I've always done my deep work. It looks so simple, it looks so basic, but it's the deep work where you actually take the time to go deeper into answering the questions for yourself so that you can move forward. And then naturally, I think once you've done that, then you're thinking about, what am I doing next? What am I doing next? But again, don't despise the small step in what you're doing next. You know what I mean? I'm not one that hates social media or blames social media for a lot of things I think people blame social media for. I believe anything we feel in terms of comparison, feeling behind, all of that has already always been there. The only thing for me that social media does is it puts it right in our hands. It gives us easy access to be able to put behaviors that we already had before. It amplifies it. So I'm not blaming social media at all, but I think one of the things that we have to recognize is that why we get so antsy about taking the next step is like we're looking at what other people are doing. You know what I mean? Like, oh, this person seems further than me. They look happier than me. Even without social media, even at your job, you're looking at somebody in a role and you're like, oh, they're so successful. How did they get there? They don't deserve it. They do deserve it. I can never be there. There's a lot of different type of thoughts I believe we start thinking, and we have to be careful about that in terms of how we plan our career, because the career plan is not about climbing up a mountain. It's not about a mountain, Look, this isn't a mountaintop moment with Jesus. This is not what, building your career is about. It's not a mountain. It is literally a path, and it's a journey, and how that looks like for you may be different. Some people take 3 laterals in their career and then they catapult into whatever it is next. Some people do consistently get promotions for 5 years and then they take laterals for the rest of it. Some people jump in and out of different jobs, in and out of different companies, and I don't believe there's a right or wrong way to do it. I believe things are changing, and why I love working with people on this is because a lot of people have the mindset of let's work how we used to work, and I'm like, things have changed. If you didn't learn that in 2020, things have changed, things are changing, and you got to take what's happening and lean into that and then build your career from there and stop being limited. You need to let go of this idea of there's only one way to build a career. There's only one way to be loyal to a company. There's only one way to show up for work, okay? I say this all to say, when you're prioritizing your next step, okay, you need to do what is best for you. I've loved the coaches that I've had because they've always challenged me to believe bigger, to see more in myself, and also to focus on one thing at a time. I think Oprah said it maybe, where it's like you can have everything you want, okay? You can have everything you want and do everything you want, but not all at the same time. There's a season for everything. And so I've recognized that, and I take that, and sometimes I beat myself up actually a lot. That's a letting go that I myself am working on consistently and continuously, is trusting the process that I'm in and the journey that I'm in and the next step that I'm taking. And if my next step is, hey, I'm joining you for the next 3 days and I'm going to be consistent in that, that is my step. I may see some other people launching 7-day courses, 10-day courses. They may be launching other things, but that is irrelevant. That's irrelevant to what I'm doing, because my next step looks like my next step. You know what I mean? And my journey is my journey. And so I just want you to remember that. I just want to encourage you to just remember that your career is your career. It's going to look like how you want it to look. If you can be motivated and inspired by others around you, please do. But remember, you have to. No one's going to do that work for you. All those questions I asked on day 1 about digging deeper into what it is you want, nobody can do that for you. Your coach, your mentor, they're there to guide you and be there with you and cheer you on and help you with a process to get through, but they can't do it for you. They can't do it for you. So you got to do that on your own, okay? And I believe you can do it because you can do hard things. And how do I know you can do hard things? Because I've done hard things. And literally, we've been doing hard things before 2020, but definitely in 2020 and in this year, 2021. You can do hard things, and we're all getting through it. And even though our careers seem like a little piece of our life, the way we build our careers really impact how it is we're going to be fulfilled in our life. So like I said, I love helping women get clear, articulate, get the salary that they're worthy of, because please, women, Black women, I'll save this for another day, but please negotiate. Don't take the first offer. I mean, I don't know how many times, different ways we can say it. If somebody is not telling you to negotiate, that's not your person. That's not your person. Now, there are different times of when to negotiate and not. Sometimes when you're doing internal promotions, there's different ways to go about it. Sometimes you cannot negotiate. But there are always ways for you to level up, even when you're working for a company you've been working for years, on how to level up. So, like I said on day one, I wanted to share how you can work with me if you would like to work with me. So I said, hey, the end of the year is coming. I know everyone's gonna get into December and start planning for January, get into January and start setting resolutions and this. I don't know what you guys are waiting for, because there's no better time to start planning than now. There's so many quotes around, hey, if you're thinking about what you want to do in the future, you should have thought about what you were supposed to do now. And that's right now. And so starting October 18th through December 13th, I'm having an 8-week program. It's called Ascension, which I love that word, Ascension. Ascension, if you look it up, Ascension is not just about, let me bring it up because I got some notes. Ascension is not it's not about upward movement. Ascension is about taking dominion. It's about taking an area. Ascension is about elevating. Ascension is about rising. It's about soaring. Ascension is about gaining. It is a climb. It's a mount. Ascension is about scale. And ascension is about a rising. And so in my program, I take you through what I like to call Arise. So Arise is my process that I take women through in order for them to upgrade, to level up, to get into the position that they want with the salary that they want, and to articulate their value. So Arise stands for assess. So we spend time assessing, because you can't skip this step. You cannot skip the step of this work. You can't skip the step of mindset. We have to go through it. A lot of times I saw this quote, and it's like, before you're a millionaire, you gotta like believe you're a millionaire. And it's with anything. You cannot work towards something that you don't even believe that you can get, or you don't believe that you deserve. And so we have to assess. So we will assess, then we will reframe. So once we assess, we need to reframe. We need to reframe your mindset around your thoughts, beliefs that you've been thinking. Then we're going to integrate. So integrate is about articulating your value, because once we've assessed, we're talking about like your career brand, okay? What does that look like up until now, and what are you trying to build? Reframing is about packaging your value. So we will look at resumes. If you've ever listened to one of my other lives, I'm not going to write your resume for you, but I will write your resume. We will write your resume together. Definitely will do that, and how to articulate your value. When we integrate, we're looking at articulating your value through interviewing. I don't dig deep into the whole LinkedIn thing, but it's a touch point, and I have some different resources on places you can go with LinkedIn visibility, how to show up there, but that's not really my lane. But I see the importance of it for sure. After integrating, then we're going to socialize. I love this part, the socialize part, because it's about differentiating your network. And I have look, Holy Spirit had dropped something in me one day about networking, and it's about your network. So network, and we talked through a little bit about, the fisherman in the Bible. I mean, it's powerful what Holy Spirit gave me, because it couldn't have been me. It couldn't have been me, but I really want to talk, we want to work through socialize and what it means to network, and who is your network, and what is your net worth. You know what I mean? We're not talking about money here. We're talking about your net, what you catch, the people around you, what's that worth, you know what I mean? And how you're probably undervaluing your network. Okay, so that's socialize. And then the last piece is emerge. So emerge is about supporting the process moving forward. And so it's kind of like that, prioritize your next step, laying out a true plan. Okay, I'm a visual person. A lot of people are, but laying out a true plan on what are the different seasons, in the next 6 months, in the next year, and onward, as much as whatever it is that you need. And so that's the program. It's 8 weeks. Like I said, it's about ascension. And what I love about ascension is to me, it's about excellent where you are. It's about arising. And arising doesn't mean I'm climbing a corporate ladder. Arising doesn't mean I'm just focused on chasing the money. It means more than that. Arising means you're rising above. You know what I mean? You're rising above. Miss Roshinda said rising up, scaling up. Look, that's a good one. That's a good one. Thank you. So I'm very, very excited. I'm excited to work with you if you are ready, if you're in that position where, like I said, the end of the year is coming. People are going to start thinking about it. I know you've seen the talk on LinkedIn and different places about people resigning, looking for new jobs and all of that. We can do that work. We need to start doing that work now. You want to hit January running. You don't want to wait till January. Now you're spending time planning. By the time you get going, it's March and April. And you know what happens in March and April around resolutions and goals. It just dips. That's the reality of it. A lot of people don't have the accountability, the self-accountability to get through even one quarter of the resolutions and goals that they set. So if you would like to work together, you can visit me at dinabspeaks.com/upgrade. Or you can shoot me a DM if you have any questions, or shoot me an email at dina@dinabspeaks.com. I'm happy to answer any questions. I'm happy to get on a call, a quick call to see if we are aligned together with where you are and what I do and where you're going. And so, yes, that's what I really wanted to share with you guys. I really hope that in these 3 days, you've been able to get clear about something, even one thing, because one thing I keep sharing about my mentor, because she really pushes me and Miss Roshinda knows, but she had said something about clarity. Sometimes we make clarity an idol. And that for me was why is she reading me? Like, why is she reading me? Because I'm always asking God for clarity. Like, God, give me clarity, give me clarity, give me clarity. And I didn't realize I had made clarity an idol. I was asking God for clarity as a way to procrastinate or stop myself from moving forward and doing what he already said I should be doing. And so now, instead of asking God for clarity, I just ask God for courage to step into what it is I know that he wants me to do. What it is that when I read the Bible, I can clearly see I can step in boldly to do what it is I am assigned to do in this season. And so I want you to think about that as you're thinking about what it is you want to do next. Is think about, are you seeking clarity as a way to stop yourself from moving forward? Or do you just need to be courageous and be bold and believe and invest in yourself on your next step? So thank you guys so much for joining. I will be back. I'm not done. I know the 3-day challenge is done, but I'm not done. I want to come back, and I did a survey and I noticed that people are actually more right now focused on the interviewing, how to interview, how to show up in an interview, etc. So I would actually love to come back in the coming week. Okay, I won't give any dates yet, but in the coming week to really touch on what I've learned about interviewing. I'm actually a certified interviewer through my through the company I worked for. So I've done lots of interviews for new employees, those doing marketing programs, etc. And so I love interviewing. If I had to say there is one thing I really love, it's interviewing. I love interviewing and talking about the value that I can bring people. I really do. I really do. And I do really well at interviewing. Just a little fun fact. If you know of, oh my goodness, I'm going to forget the name. There's a business organization I was part of in high school, and there's a business competition, and I got first place in interviewing, and so at the state level. So I've been good at interviewing for a little while, and so I would love to share some tips with you guys on interviewing as you prepare for those type of things. So Miss Roshinda, thank you so much for joining me. I saw some other people join and leave, but Miss Roshinda she's one of my accountability partners, and she's consistent. And so thank you so much. I love you and I appreciate your support. And so that's it, guys. I've been trying to exit here for a little bit, so let me just exit for real this time. Thank you so much and have a blessed night.